Hey y'all. So we are home from main event. Um, had to get my ex back on the road, despite his thinking he was gonna stay. Yeah, no. Um, I have horrible migraine, but I just saw Locheadbosslady's Christmas tag video, and so while it is on my mind, I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question. And she simply wants to know, what is your most memorable Christmas that you remember being as a child? Um, my most memorable for me is the year that I got my tonsils out. I was, I think, 8. And after I had my tonsils out, um, my grandmother had 2 of my cousins come up from Texas and come stay with me. Hey, Joe Alice, we're good. How are you doing? Um, and so my favorite cousin Alta, who's like my sister, and then our cousin Rashad, who is like a brother. Um, we're like the closest in age. He's a year younger than us, but we all still grew up really close. And Alta was born in April. I was born in August, same year, 77. So we were the same age. I'm glad you're feeling better, Joalice. So, that year I had my tonsils out. And so I was kind of stuck in bed and bored. And my grandmother flew them up. Like, she had them come up and stay with me. And, it was just us kids. Like, normally, if we happened to get to spend a holiday together, that meant everybody was there. Like, it wasn't gonna be just us having fun, with one person's, adults. Like, if it was more than one kid there, then all of the people, mamas, daddies, brothers, sisters, cousins, everybody was there. So for Alta and Rashad to be there, that would have meant that Alta's mom was there, Alta's brothers was there, Alta's sister was there, Rashad's mama, Rashad's daddy, Rashad's sister, and then it wouldn't stop at that point. There'd be even more cousins and uncles and aunties, and it'd be a packed house. Like, I mean, but that year I had my tonsils out, it was just them two. Just them, and then my granny and papa. My dad wasn't even there. I don't know if that was a time when my dad was in prison, or one of the few times when he had like got his own place, because he wasn't there, because I was actually sleeping down in the den. We had a garage, but it was a converted garage that turned it into a den. And so that was the room that my dad was sleeping, because it was huge. It was like a 3.5 car garage. Something was a big garage. And so there was the washer and dryer was down there. There was 2 or 3 deep freezers down there. All the storage stuff was down there. But then there was also a whole bedroom, and then like a whole living room area. Like, there was a bed, there was a floor model TV, there was a stereo center, that's the bedroom side. Well, then over here, there was a couch and a love seat, 2 chairs, full out armchairs. this was a big old garage, okay? Fully converted out. And so I was down there because all my toys were down there. And then, my dad had, the big TV down there and all that stuff. And so they just let me be down there so I could play all in one room and wouldn't be, you know, getting in out of bed. I would just, I could stay right there and, be cool. And so when my cousins came down, we were just all together down there in the den. And they stayed with me like the whole, like, Christmas break. And my dad had got me a puppy. I think that's when I got the second. Yeah, that was the second puppy because I'd already had one dog. I had a chow. I had a blue chow named Fido. And when I had my tonsils out, so he wasn't in prison because he got me a dog. So that's when he brought me Fidette. And it was a girl chow. She was black. Because I remember me and my cousins playing with both puppies. Yeah, so they stayed the whole winter break. But I remember, my cousins were from Texas, so they never got to see snow. They lived in Dallas. They never got to see snow. And so, since they were here in Oklahoma, they were like, I want to see snow. I want to see snow. I want to see snow. So, Christmas morning, my uncle came busting in the room. And he was like, it snowed. It snowed. Alton and Rashad jumped up. They jumped up. They put on coats and hats and gloves. And he was like, it snowed. It snowed. And they went running outside to a bright green sunny day. They were so mad at my uncle. Oh, they were so mad at my uncle. And they were like, it didn't snow. He's like, sure it did. It's just gone. They were so mad. They were hot. When I tell you those were two mad children, oh, they were so mad at him. They were mad. Alta, I think, was mad at my uncle for years. I don't know if she ever did get unmad at my uncle. She did not like him for that. She did not like him for that at all. But that was my, like, best favorite Christmas memory. All my Christmases were always really good. I got, lots of stuff. I'd either have Christmas here in Oklahoma with my dad's side of the family, or I had Christmas in Houston with my mom's side of the family. My whole life was, going back and forth, Oklahoma or Texas, which side of the family I was with. And it just always alternated. Hi, Kenneth. It always alternated each year. So one year I'd be in Oklahoma for Christmas. The next year I'd be in Houston for Christmas. And then my summers were the same thing. So it'd be, one summer in Oklahoma, one summer in Houston. My whole life was just always back and forth and back and forth. So, that's when people ask me where I'm from and I name more than one place because I grew up in both, especially before school. Before I started school, I didn't live anywhere. I didn't live in any particular state because I just traveled back and forth and back and forth. I might be here for 3 weeks and then turn around and go there for 3 weeks and then turn around and come back, and then I might end up in Michigan or, yeah. Before I started school, I didn't live anywhere. I was always traveling. Always traveling. If air miles had been a thing back then, I'd have been a little girl with a lot of air miles. Because I started flying in planes when I was 2. Like, I was a flying something. I was a flying something. But yeah, I was always back and forth. And I always went by plane. I never took a bus until I was, I think 15. 15 or 16 was the first time I ever rode a bus. And I rode the bus from Houston to East Texas, where my grandmother's summer house was. And that was the first time I ever rode a bus in my life. Before that, it was always the airplane. Um, but there's no plane to East Texas. Like, now there is. It's very expensive, but now you can fly to East Texas. But back then, there was no such thing. You either getting in the car with somebody or it was a bus. That was just the two options there were. Because it's the country, you know. But when my grandmother had moved there, then she wasn't here in Oklahoma. Because before we would, I'd fly from Houston to here, and then when I got here, me and my granny would drive to East Texas. But there was when I was about um, 8 or 9, she and I moved to East Texas, and then I was 8. It was right after I had my tonsils out. Me and her moved to Texas, and I stayed with her in Texas until I was 12 when my mom got her first house. And then I moved my mom, and my grandma stayed there. She stayed in that house until I got ready to start college. And that's when she moved back here and just went back to going back and forth, during summers and holidays and stuff like that when she felt like going to Texas. Because at first, when me and my granny first moved down to Texas, my papa was supposed to sell the house here, and he was going to come too. Well, he just never ended up coming. Like, he sold that house, and then he got a temporary rent house. And then I think it was the year that I started high school. He found the house that he's in now that's down on the end of this street that I live on. And it was almost exactly like the first house, the house that they were living in when I was born, except the garage is still a garage, but whoever had that house before added an extra room on the back side of the house, like that den that was converted, like he had the garage. Hey, Cinnamon and Pops. And he bought that house. And yeah, so that's when my granny, started coming back and forth. And then when I started college, that's when she just went ahead and she moved back up there, or back up here, and then just started going back and forth again. But yeah, when she was there, then I had to get a bus to get to her because she wasn't up here. But when she would be still here, then I would still do the same thing. I would fly here, and then I would ride with her, or I would drive her back down there. I did that a few times. Hey, Vacillate for singing. But yeah, that was my favorite Christmas. But like I said, all my Christmases were always really good. Um, Either place that I was, whether it was Texas or if it was Oklahoma, it was still always really good. Here in Oklahoma, Santa was super big, and Santa did a lot here in Oklahoma. Um, Santa still did a lot in Houston, but my grandmother is a practical joker. So there'd be Santa stuff. There'd be, okay, and in my family, like Santa leaves open gifts. Santa's stuff is usually not wrapped. But in Houston, there's some Santa stuff that will be wrapped. There will also be stuff that's wrapped up that's not necessarily from, it's not from Santa, it's not really from anybody. It's just wrapped up and it'll have somebody's name on it. She's a practical joker, so she has practical joker type stuff, so Christmas is there, you had extra surprises. I'm hoping to be able to come back because we're going to Houston um, next week. This is the 16th. We're going to Houston on the 23rd. When I get off work on the 23rd, we're driving to Houston and we're going to be there to the 2nd. But I am going to try and come back on the weekend of the 18th. So I am going to try and come back so that I can be there for the meetup. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do it. I'm hoping so. But yeah, my grandma was she still is a practical joker. Like, she loves having fun. And you would never knew, like, one Christmas morning, now this is like 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I always slept on the couch in my grandparents' house. Well, up until I was like 5 or 6, I always slept with them. And then I started sleeping on the couch. And so my grandma gets up like 6 o'clock every morning, has a cup of black coffee and burnt toast. That's her thing. And so she come in there that early, and my grandfather would get up about 6:30 and just come sit in a chair next to the couch and chain smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes. And so my grandmother's up in the kitchen having her burnt toast and coffee. And then my grandpa's just sitting there next to me chain smoking. And I hear the microwave go off or whatever. So my grandmother goes, "I got you a Big Mac. You want a Big Mac?" And I'm like, I'm half asleep anyway because they're just in there harassing me. That's what they did to me whenever I was there. She came to drink coffee and eat burnt toast, and he came to chain smoke in front of my face when I'm still trying to sleep. So she's like, "I got you a Big Mac. You want a Big Mac? I got you a Big Mac." And I'm like, it's 7:30 in the morning? Like, what, huh? A Big Mac? And she hands me this hot box. "Hey, you not ready? Happy holidays to you." And so she hands me this hot Big Mac box. Like, it's warm. And I'm like, this is pre-McDonald's being open 24 hours, y'all. Okay? I'm 41 years old. This was a long time ago. This is pre-24-hour McDonald's, okay? I'm like, where'd this come from? Huh? What? It's morning time for breakfast? Yeah, here's your Big Mac. And I'm sitting here staring at this box, so confused, and it's hot. And I'm like, where did she get a Big Mac from? And I open it up, and I think it was a watch. It was a watch or something. Something in there had nothing to do with a Big Mac. But that's just the kind of stuff that she does. And she still does, little sneaky, silly stuff. That's just, so Christmases in Houston was, grandma, and see what tricks she had up her sleeves. It's, you go to Houston, you see what kind of tricks she's got up, because she's gonna do something. She's gonna do something. And then the ones up here, Santa, I had, well, the way my granny and my papa did Christmas from before I was ever born, just from my dad, my uncle, and my aunt. Yep, that's where I get it from. Um, my dad was the youngest and the worst of the children. He was a spoiled brat. He was a little bad butt. Um, but he would get up first in the morning, run into the living room to the tree, and he would take everybody's gifts, my aunt's gifts, my uncle's gift, and his own gifts, and put them all together. These are all mine. So when my uncle and my aunt would come in, he'd say, Santa didn't leave y'all nothing. Y'all must be bad. He didn't leave y'all nothing. My daddy would have Barbie dream car, Barbies, doll houses, and then he'd have two sets of boxing gloves, uh, two skates, two bikes. He took everything. Like, this all, y'all ain't getting nothing. So every single year, my granny and papa would have to get up and say, this is not yours. Santa gave this to Brenda, gave this to Rodney. Like, Tony, stop that. Santa didn't leave you all. Santa left this all to me. Like, and he believed his lies. And till the day my daddy died, he believed his own lies, like, for real. And he knew he was lying, but he'd be, dead serious. Hey, Black Storm. And so they got to where they separated gifts. Tony's stuff is on the love seat. Brenda's stuff is on the couch. Rodney's stuff is in this chair. And so by the time I came along, my aunt was married, so she wasn't there. She didn't have a spot no more. So my stuff was on the couch. And then my dad had this love seat. My uncle had the chair, you know, for Santa. That's where Santa put his deliveries. Well, sometimes Santa brought so much, it would, the whole couch would be covered, trailing down down to the floor, and out past the Christmas tree into the hallway, heading to the bathroom. Like, Santa was busy, in Oklahoma. Santa did a lot in Oklahoma. And then you had the gifts from everybody else's stuff that was wrapped up under the tree. Santa was the open stuff. And then up here, it was all about the gifts and then eating. My granny was, she cooked. So it was all about food after that. In Houston, we opened gifts, and then food is just not so important in Houston. Like, I mean, we eat, but it's like, whatever. In Houston, Christmases, we open gifts, we have fun with the gifts, we chit chat, and then we usually play games. Like, we play games, or we'll do karaoke, something. It's like game time. It's like family fun time is what we do Christmas in Houston. We kind of snick snack. That's what it is on that side of the family. It's more snick snacky. We have rotel, but it's a sausage rotel instead of hamburger meat. It's Jimmy Dean ground sausage, cream cheese, and rotel. And we'll do that. We usually don't do traditional food. We usually do Creole food. So, it might be gumbo, crawfish etouffee, crab, steamed crab, shrimp, you know, that kind of stuff. Um, Almost every holiday, my grandmother gets a fried turkey because she says my uncle wants a fried turkey, but he never actually asked for the fried turkey. She just decided that he wanted fried turkey like 20 years ago, and ever since, there's always this fried turkey breast every Thanksgiving, every Christmas that he didn't really ask for, and nobody eats it because it's super extremely hot. So it's always just there for him. But yeah, great time all around. That's what I said. My Christmases were always just really, really good. Even since I've been an adult and I have my own kids, I try and give them, same kind of Christmases that I had. Um, I might have to struggle to figure out how I'm gonna do it, but my kids have not had a disappointing Christmas yet. You know what I mean? I'm gonna work it out. I'm gonna figure out some kind of way that I get them what they wanted. Um, but yeah, so that was my little Christmas tag. That was, best Christmas was my cousin Alta and Rayshard coming and being with me while I was recuperating, and then being here for Christmas. And then my uncle, you know, being mean to him and telling him it was snow, and it wasn't no snow. But yeah, they were hoping so much for snow. But that is such a rare thing in Oklahoma to have snow for Christmas. It starts snowing in like January to late February or mid February. Not so much in December. The the second year that me and the kids moved back here in Oklahoma, we actually got snow in the end of August, I think it was. It was either the end of August, either the last week of August or the first week of September. It snowed, and it snowed a lot. Like, it snowed so much that I was able to put a container outside and catch snow and make snow ice cream. It snowed a lot. Because in order to make snow ice cream, you have to let the first snow fall, clear out, and then catch the next sprinkling of snow because it shouldn't have all the pollution in it. And I was able to let snow fall, stop, and then more snow come back, and I was able to catch a whole blender full of snow and make my kids snow ice cream because they'd never had it before. So, and that was like I'm telling you, that was, I really want to say it was the end of August because it was crazy. Like, it made no sense. Because I remember telling Auntie Fee that I was making snow ice cream. She's like, "Where the f you get some snow from? What you talking?" And I'm like, "It's snow. How's it snowing in this summertime?" But it snowed just out the blue for no freaking reason, and then it went away. And but we had a ice Christmas that year. Christmas was all iced over. I mean, iced over. Like, it was crazy ice. But since that year, we really have not gotten any snow. We have not had snow in like the last 5 years. Since then, the year that I made the snow ice cream is the last time we've actually had some actual snow that fell on the ground and stayed on the ground and, you know, made enough snow that it was, there. We've had, a few little sprinkles, but, by the next day, gone. And I think that's just, with the global warming and all that stuff, and stuff is just changing. Because it's plenty cold. But mm-mm, we've been missing our white Christmases. But that's the thing. We're not getting white Christmases here, but it snowed in Dallas, it snowed in Houston, it snowed in East Texas instead of here. So thank you, Black Storm. Your mom made snow ice cream all the time, Joe Alice. I had never had snow ice cream until the year my grandmother had her heart attack, and it just happened to snow the day. Was it the day she went in the hospital? Yeah, or the day after. I think it was that night. Like when I got off the bus from school and it had not snowed. I got off the bus and I went to go home, and my aunt, their house sat directly in front of our house. Like we owned some land, and their house sat in front of our land. And so she had come to the back door and told me to come over there. And that's when they told me that my granny was in the hospital and she'd had a heart attack. And you know, just let me know what had happened. I was 8 or 9, and I went home later on. I ate dinner over there, and then I went home, and it started snowing sometime that night because it was actually a weekend. It was like a Friday, and so my uncle came to the door like first thing in the morning, early in the morning, and rang the doorbell, and he said, "Give me some canned milk." And I was like, "Huh? Give me some canned milk. I know your granny got some canned milk in there. I'm gonna make you some ice cream." And I was like, "Make me some ice cream?" I was like, "Huh? In the wintertime?" Like, "I'm gonna make you some snow ice cream." And I was like, "Make me some what?" And so I got him the milk, and he went and got a bowl, and he went outside and let the snow fall into the bowl or whatever. And then he came back in there and he made ice cream out of snow. And I was looking at him like, I have never seen this in my life. Like, what in the world? And that was the first time I'd ever had snow. I think that was the first and only time. Yeah, I had it until I made it again for my kids. Until I made it for my kids 5 years ago, I never had it again. Because that was the only time it ever snowed there. It snowed when my granny had her heart attack, and it kept snowing. It snowed for like a week. Like, it snowed for a while. Because when she came home from the hospital, there was still snow on the ground. It lasted for a while that year. Yeah, it lasted for a good while. But that shows you how I remember recipes. Because I had that once and only once, and I just saw him make it. And then, what, 25, 30 years later, I made it for my kid. So, hey, Vacillate. It's 2:14 in the morning. My migraine is starting to go away, so I'm gonna get off of here, take my little sleeping aid, and try to go to sleep because I got to work in the morning. I gotta get up at 10 and get the girls and drop them off at church, and then I gotta go to work. I'm doing something really weird at work tomorrow. I'm doing Spanish cheese, I think queso Osaka. I think it's the cheese that I'm doing with dried apricot. Like, I'm putting a piece of cheese and a piece of dried apricot on a stick, and then I'm slicing plums and toasting the plum on each side, and then sticking that on the stick with the dried apricot and the cheese. I don't understand. No, 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 no. The plum is what I'm doing next week. No, this is just cheese and apricot. This is just cheese and apricot tomorrow. The next one that I'm doing bacon bacon jelly with cream cheese and the cooked plum on a cracker. Bacon jelly. Jelly made out of bacon. Cream cheese. A hot plum on a cracker. When I tell y'all I make some interesting stuff at work sometimes, I make some interesting stuff at work. Yeah. So tomorrow is Mexican cheese. I think it's the queso Osaka. Oaxaca, I think it's how it's spelled. And dried apricots. I've never liked apricots. That's one fruit that I have never liked in my life. So apricot of any kind sounds terrible to me, but a dried apricot with cheese, I'm not I'm not for that one. It's not working for me. But yeah. Thank y'all for hanging out with me, listening to my Christmas memories. And I will see y'all. I don't like it. No. Peach jelly is good. Peach jelly is delicious. But there's just something about an apricot. I don't even think I've ever seen a fresh apricot in my life. But I guess maybe that must be what I had, was either jelly or dried. Because I've never seen a fresh one. But I know it was jelly. I know I didn't like it. I love plums. I love peaches. I love nectarines. But I do not like apricot. I do not like that. There's only a few things in the world that I just don't like the taste of: apricot, cilantro, lobster, beets, and turnips. Can't do them. The flavor of those items don't work for me. But yeah. So I'm gonna go, y'all. Take this sleep aid and go to sleep. I'm tired. My migraine is almost gone. Yeah. Love you too, Joe Alice. And this won't let me type, so I can't say nothing. But yeah. And I just realized I was on Top Chat instead of live, so I might have missed somebody. I saw Kenneth, saw Nikisha. Maybe I was able to see everybody anyway. I don't see anybody that I missed that I can scroll to. So hopefully I saw everybody. But yeah. Thank y'all for coming, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.